Hey, it's Matt Shu from iSeek Simple, and in today's video we're going to look at WordPress membership sites and the costs of running all the plugins and the hosting and all that really annoying crap versus the simplified life that you can get from running an online business using Kajabi. I used WordPress from 2007 all the way to 2020, and I struggled all the time with software updates, managing different plugin licenses, drag and drop builders, all this stuff to try to keep things working. And even though my business, Upright Health, a fitness and wellness company, did well using WordPress, it was a huge relief to get off of WordPress and move to Kajabi, and saves me now tons of headaches, countless hours every year, and actually doesn't cost me any more than WordPress used to. We're going to be talking about a lot of different aspects of WordPress versus Kajabi. So if this helps you and you realize that you should and want to take the easy path and use Kajabi, then be sure to use my affiliate link down below to start your free trial of Kajabi. If you don't like it, you don't lose anything. It's a free trial. If you do like it and you stick with it, your using my affiliate link does help me, and I really appreciate that. And I hope that this video sets the stage for you to take off with your online business. So first, some background on my site. I was running a pretty complex site. I had over 40 plugins running all the time that needed to be updated periodically, and updates would break stuff, and I'd literally lose entire days to trying to fix these problems. Even though I had a web guy help me vet updates before we push them live, we would still find problems because you just can't test everything. And this is one of the biggest problems because it costs money to have a web developer to help you check this stuff, and it costs you money if you're running an online business if your site is broken. And every time WordPress would break, I'd have to prioritize fixing it so that I could get things moving again, and so people could even pay to get into courses that they wanted to take. Ultimately, my goal with Upright Health and any business that I have is to make sure that I'm delivering value to others. And if you are trying to do the same with your business and your website is broken, you'll quickly understand how frustrating the experience can be. Now let's talk about the biggest question people usually have about Kajabi, and that's the cost. Because when you look at WordPress, you see free. So isn't WordPress cheaper than Kajabi? Well, the answer is at one point, yes. Using WordPress to run a blog, to run a really simple site, can be pretty cheap. If you get hosting for a couple dollars a month, WordPress itself is free, so you're only paying a couple dollars a month to play around and figure out what you're doing. If you're just starting a blog and you're just trying to find your voice and you're just playing around, then WordPress is fine. It's a great choice, no problem. But if you're actually looking to start a business and you want to start online courses or you want to start a membership site, then I really strongly suggest you do not use WordPress when you're getting ready to go down that path. So I want to get into some real cost comparisons so you understand why I think Kajabi is definitely the easier method to running an online business where you are educating people and helping people with courses or a membership site. But before we get to the real numbers, I want you to ask yourself just 3 questions because these are really important to think about. First, do you enjoy clicking through inefficient navigation screens and going through multiple menus in order to access everything you want? Second, do you want to be locked into a system that is so hopelessly complex and convoluted you can never explain to anybody but yourself how everything is cobbled together? Essentially meaning you are chained to the system and you can never step away. And third, do you want to pay hundreds of dollars a month, meaning thousands of dollars a year, on hosting that ensures that your site can actually function properly and serve all of your customers, and still not be guaranteed that that'll even work because some WordPress plugin might break it all? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then go ahead and use WordPress because you are a masochist and apparently like to suffer a lot more than I do. And those are issues that have come up for me personally many times, and they're things that I have trouble even placing monetary value on. So I want to bring them up before we actually talk about the money side of things. Before I moved to Kajabi, I made a list of all of the plugins that I had and the associated monthly or yearly costs that they entailed. And what I came up with was I was paying $1,621 per year on plugins, WordPress plugins alone. That includes subscription plugins, that includes what you see is what you get, drag and drop builder plugin, Woocommerce premium plugins for the courses and for subscriptions and memberships and all those things. And there was no way I could run a membership and course site without using those premium plugins. So every month I was paying $135 for the plugins only. That's $135 per month, not including developer fees to help me fix problems with software updates. And that's $135 not counting all the hours I would lose to trying to fix these things and being unable to sleep and being angry and stomping around the house and annoying my wife. But if we wanted to put a dollar value on that, we could try. And let's just say I value my time at only $50 an hour, which frankly is cheap for my time. And we assumed that I only spent 40 hours in the entire year fixing WordPress problems, which is a low estimate. Then that would add another $2,000 a year to the costs of having all these WordPress plugins. So we can start with just managing WordPress plugins for a membership site at around $300 a month. And we still have to add on hosting fees to make sure your site runs, because if you have a membership site, you need to have premium high tier hosting so that your site actually works. Otherwise it'll be really, really slow and then it's going to break very, very quickly. That will cost about $200 a month. And as you get bigger and better and have more audience, you will see that you'll have to pay even more. So what really got me to leave WordPress was my site not only had these plugin issues, but the WordPress host that I was using was starting to demand $600 a month just to keep the site working. So think about that. You could be paying about $2,000 to $7,000 or even more per year for the hosting costs to keep your WordPress membership site running. So let's look at the cost comparison of Kajabi versus WordPress. Kajabi is at its most expensive annual plan, $319 a month right now. WordPress plugins to run a membership site with courses cost a minimum of $135 a month. Then you need to think about the hosting fees, which could be around $200 a month, pretty conservatively for high-end, top-quality hosting. And then you also need to think about your MailChimp or ActiveCampaign or whatever email service provider you're going to use, and that's going to cost you more and more as your subscriber base goes up. So already I'm thinking there's a factor of about 4 that I'm overpaying when I could just use Kajabi, which has all these extra benefits that I'll talk about in another video. But just to summarize it, simple to manage, no updates to deal with that break everything, and 3, really easy to integrate all the tools together because all of it is built to work together. So I no longer need to deal with separate service providers and making sure I put in these API keys and then enter in the license key here and then update this thing. I hated running things on WordPress, and Kajabi just makes it so easy I don't have to worry about meltdowns at all, software or mental. So in closing, if you are thinking about building a WordPress membership site, I want you to really, really clearly think about all the costs that is going to entail. I'm gonna drop a link in the description box so you can read an article that kind of summarizes a lot of this for you. I really personally don't think it's a good idea to build a WordPress membership site in 2021 because the headaches that come along with it, the costs, none of it makes any sense. And as far as I could tell, WordPress and working all these things and pieces together just becomes an absolute nightmare, and you can't ever just hand it off to somebody. Whereas Kajabi has documentation, they have a knowledge base, they have support staff, and it's generally pretty simple, so you can train somebody to figure out how it works and it's gonna be okay. Whereas with WordPress, if you have all these customized things and specific plugins that maybe don't play nice, and maybe if you click this box, it doesn't play nice with this other plugin, it just becomes way too big of a headache to remember, and nobody can learn your system. So if you are serious about starting an online business with courses, I really strongly suggest you look at Kajabi because it's so much easier than running WordPress. I have been using Kajabi now for most of 2020, about 9 months of 2020, and I can say I have absolutely no regrets about getting off of WordPress. It has been one of the best business decisions I have ever made. If you're now feeling ready to start the Kajabi trial that I mentioned at the beginning of the video, be sure to use my affiliate link down in the description box. I really appreciate it. It does help me only if Kajabi ends up being a good decision for you. So if you stay with Kajabi after your free trial and realize like, hey, this is an awesome way for me to build a business, then Kajabi then pays me a small commission, and I really appreciate that because it means I got paid to help you help yourself. If you want more in-depth articles on this topic, be sure to check out the description box for helpful links to our website at iseeksimple.com. All right, take care and remember to seek simple.
What?